Hello, I'm Dave. Today I'm going to show you how to check your car battery and alternator. I'm going to show you how to test the battery has enough volts in to start with. I'm going to show you how to test the alternator is charging your battery, and I'm going to show you how to do a simple test for the cold cranking amps for when you start your car. To do this, you need a multimeter with a minimum and maximum button on it. First, turn the multimeter onto volts DC setting. Then simply connect the red lead to the positive terminal of the battery and the black lead to the negative terminal of the battery. 12.6 or higher is a fully charged battery. 12.4 would be about 75% charged. Now I will go and start the car and show you the alternator reading. .1514. The alternator is now charging the battery. When checking the alternator, the reading wants to be between 13 to 14 volts. Ideally 13.8 to 14.2 is fine. Now I will go and turn the lights, headlights, main beam, radio, fan, screen demister, etc. on. You will see a slight drop and then a raise again on this reading on the camera. This shows the alternator is still charging with all that electrical equipment turned on. If you did get a slightly lower reading at this point now, you could just give the car a little rev up to 2,000 to 3,000 RPM, because when out on a journey driving, you wouldn't be just sat at idle anyway. If your reading still doesn't go back up to between 13.8 to 14, or like similar to what mine is now, then maybe it's not fully charging properly with all this turned on. Now I will do the cold cranking test. Turn the voltmeter to volts DC, and I will need this min max button. The multimeter is connected up before. I will press the min max button. It's in manual mode. I will now go and start the car. As you can see, I will show you the readings. First of all, we have 1410, which was the alternator was charging when the car was started. I'll press the min max button. We have 10.74. That is what the volts dropped to when I started the car, the cold cranking amps, the power that was drained out of the battery whilst starting the car. The magic number is 9.6. If it's lower than 9.6, then the battery is not in very good condition. And finally, a little test you can do with the alternator on the bench to check the diodes in the alternator are working correctly, or at least aren't faulty. A diode should only allow the electricity to flow one way. Again, for this I'm just using a simple multimeter set on to continuity. You need to put the multimeter leads, one onto this terminal, which is the terminal for the main red wire from the alternator to the battery. The other one you need to scratch onto the surface. Make sure you get a good connection, as these are aluminium. You need to scratch it into the surface to make sure you've got really good contact. First I shall put the red multimeter lead onto here and scratch the black multimeter lead into the body of the alternator. There's no reading at all. This is good so far. Now I shall swap the multimeter leads around and put the black lead onto the main alternator terminal, scratch the red lead, and there we go. That shows that the diodes are working correctly. If I got a reading, and it would probably be a low reading both ways round with these multimeter wires connected to this alternator, then the diodes would be faulty. If your battery wasn't working properly, try charging it first before purchasing a new one. You can do this on the car, but remove the black negative battery lead. This will save causing any damage to your ECU. You don't need to remove the red one, but if you are removing the battery completely from the car, remember to remove the black battery lead first, the negative one. If you attempt to remove the red positive one first, and your spanner touches something else metal on the car, the bodywork, the engine casing for example, it will short out and cause damage. Right, so I've removed the black negative battery lead from the battery and tucked it down here. I've put the black wire from the battery charger onto the black negative post. I put the red wire from the battery charger onto the red positive battery post. On the charger here, the gauge in effect works backwards. If the battery was flat, this red needle would be all the way around here, and as it's charging it drops down to 0 amps on the gauge. We have a normal and a fast charge on this battery charger. It's best to use normal to charge your battery, especially if you've got time. It's more healthy for the battery. We can use fast charge. The needle moved up there then, it's dropping back down. Fast charge obviously charges your battery faster, but I've heard stories that this isn't too good for your battery. I'll put it back onto normal. Also remember, before removing your battery lead, if you have a stereo in your car that you need a code for, you will need to know the code, otherwise you won't be able to get your radio to work again. I will now zoom into the battery charger. Here is the needle. This end we have the 0 amps. We have 9 amps at the other end. Like I said, it works backwards in effect. So if the battery was flat, the needle would be up here, and it could take a few hours to charge for the needle to drop all the way down to 0. And here is the normal and the fast charge. I've got it on normal charge. The needle might move slightly when I press fast charge. Yeah, the needle fluctuates slightly there, but as you can see my battery is more or less on full charge there, so it's dropped straight back down. Put it back on normal. Yeah, so that's it from me today. If you enjoyed my video, thumbs up. If not, thumbs down. Please subscribe and see my other videos. Thank you.